here to tell you some more about Mughal dynasty in the part 3 of the Mughal dynasty content. Before our videos, before this videos, we have launched two more videos that how the establishment of the Mughal dynasty took in India and how the Humayun and what was the role of Sher Shah Suri in the Mughal dynasty. So today we are back again with a new topic, Mughal dynasty part 3. Today we will talk about Akbar. Akbar was a judge ruler of the Mughal dynasty and one of the greatest ruler of India. So Akbar, when he was 13, was in 1556, when Akbar was just 13, the Humayun died and Akbar was proclaimed as king. Akbar was proclaimed as a king and he was under the regency of Baram Khan. And Baram Khan was appointed as a regent. Now the Mughal dynasty Mughal Empire has just been established and was threatened from all sides. And Afghans and Rajput were waiting for a suitable opportunity to expel the Mughals from India again. So this time the earlier conquest take the expansion and consolidation. We are going to talk about the topic expansion and consolidation and in the early problems. First problem was that the battle of we have about the second battle of Panipat. In earlier the first battle of Panipat that took between Mughals and Ibrahim Lodi, but in the second battle of Panipat took because just that Adil Shah, the ruler of Persia, desired the throne of Delhi for himself, and he advanced his general Hindu with a large army to go to Delhi, as he sent him to go to Delhi and conquer Delhi and the Mughal Empire for the Adil Shah. And hence in November 1556, a great battle was fought in Panipat between the Mughal armies and the armies of that of Hindu. In this battle, the armies of Mughals defeated the armies of Hindu, and thus the Mughals won this battle and reoccupied Delhi and Agra. And this time, all Afghans and Rajput were very little, however, want to know about that. The Mughals have also the power to expel, and they can also consolidate the empire, and they can also protect the empire against them. So after these all moments, Akbar grew a little big and was confident enough as he left the regency of Baram Khan and took over the administration. The Akbar administration that you have heard about in previous video by me, that the Sher Shah was regarded as the forerunner of Akbar, and Akbar also took many measures that were equal to the Sher Shah and Alauddin Khilji. So about this Akbar wanted to consolidate and expand his empire from the starting. So he conquered Malwa and Gujarat, the parts that were once again lost by the Mughal Empire. He recovered their parts. In 1562, he also recovered Gwalior and Ajmer. After that, in 1564, he attacked the kingdom of Gondwana, and queen of that Gondwana, Rani Durgavati, fought bravely and put a stiff resistance and died fighting. And thus, Gondwana also became the kingdom part of Mughal Empire. After these problems for the Mughal Empire was that the Rajputs at that time were very strong, and Akbar thought that if the Rajput and Mughals will combine together, they can be a great power in India and they can rule. So he offered Rajputs the hand of friendship. To offer the hand of friendship, he sustained many types of loyalties. Number one was that he defeated the Rajput kings and princes, but did not humiliate them. He treated them with respect and did not interfere in the main thing was he did not interfere in their internal matter, and allowed the most of the defeated rulers to continue their rule. This was a great thing that Rajput also thought about Mughals. Fact number 2 was the second thing about this was the Akbar married to a Rajput family. He married to a Rajput princess called Jodhabai, and her name is very famous. And his son also, Jahangir, also took his first wife, Jahangir's first wife of Manvati, also a Hindu. So he had a great relation with Rajput. Third point was also he also encouraged the Rajput officials, as many of his officers and were Rajput, as two of his most trusted Rajput were Raja Man Singh, and Raja Birbal were his most trusted and were Rajput. So he had a great connection with the Rajputs. After that, some of the Rajputs accepted the hands of friendship, but others did not. So not all Rajputs accepted the hands of Akbar's friendship, and one of that was he was a great warrior, Raja Uday Singh. Raja Uday Singh, the ruler of Mewar, did not accept the Akbar's hand of friendship and fought against him. Akbar defeated him and conquered Chittor and Ranthambore and some parts of Mewar also. After that, he defeated also his son, Raja Uday Singh's sons, Maharana Pratap. Maharana Pratap, a great warrior that you have heard about, also fought with Akbar in the Battle of Haldi Ghati 1576, which took place in the Haldi Ghati, and Akbar also defeated Maharana Pratap in this battle, and conquered once again Chittor and Ranthambore became a part of the Mughal Empire. But Maharana Pratap recovered most of the territories lost by the Rajputs. He recovered most of the territories back to the Rajput Empire. So Maharana Pratap was a great warrior himself. After that, we come to the later conquest of Akbar. When Akbar had a great concert, he wanted to actually rule entire India. So for this mission, he took in 1572 he conquered Gujarat. In 1574 to 76 he conquered West Bengal and Bihar, and after that in the period of 1585 to 1595 he conquered Sindh, Kabul, Balochistan and other parts of the eastern and northern India. After that he also conquered Odisha in 1592, and after that he wanted to also to expand his empire towards the south. For the south in Deccan, he conquered the Ahmed parts of Ahmednagar, Berar and Khandesh. But the fort of Ahmednagar were conquered by Rajput, by the Mughals, but the princess of that Ahmednagar did not, the commander of that Ahmednagar did not allow the Mughals to conquer the more territories in Ahmednagar. His name was Chandrabibi. She was very, very powerful warrior. After that, we come to the administration of the Akbar. The Akbar's administration was mainly a mix of Central Asian and Persian administration. As he belonged to Persia and he was ruling in India, then his administration was combined of Persian and Central Asian. And he was a centralized monarchy where Akbar was holding the absolute powers of that kingdom, and the whole kingdom of Mughal Empire was under Akbar. And the reports from the nobles and the department heads were read out to Akbar in a particular time. That particular time, in a particular place, that was known as Diwani Khas. Diwani Khas, in the sense, was a hall of private audience, where the officials and the ambassadors from the different kingdoms and the important people of Akbar came in the hall of Diwani Khas, in the hall of private audience. And after that, Akbar also opened his court for the normal people of his kingdom, and that divan was that place was known as Diwan-e-Aam, and where the people of the common place visited and shared their problems to Akbar. And this was a very nice thing that the people could directly speak to Akbar in front of him without any pressure or anything. After that, we come to his what the officers worked under. Akbar's officers were mainly divided into the Diwan. Diwan or Wazir was head of the revenue department. As you know that revenue is the most important thing for a kingdom to grow and to establish a biggest kingdom in the empire, and to get a hold of empire, the revenue is very important. Then the Wazir or Diwan was important for the revenue department. After that, there was a department known as Sadar-e-Sadur. Sadar-e-Sadur kept a record of the grants and donation made by the emperor. After that, there was a Qazi. Qazi was a chief judge as he looked after the religious matter. And one more was there, the Mir Bakshi. Mir Bakshi from the name from the ancient time. It was from the times of Alauddin and Delhi Sultanate. Mir Bakshi mainly took over the military matters. After that, one more was there, that was Khane Saman. Khane Saman took over the household, the necessities and the accessories of the household of that, the mahal or the palace where they lived. After that, we come to the provincial administration. As the Akbar ruled for a very large empire, his kingdom was should be in his hand. So he divided his kingdom into different parts known as Suba, and each Suba was under his particular person who was served as a link between the Suba and the king, and that person was known as Subadar. Subadar was responsible for all the developments, all the things that were happening in the Suba, and Suba was further divided into Sarkars and Paraganas. As I have told you earlier below that the custom of Sher Shah was followed by the Akbar. He also maintained Sarkars and Paraganas and divided his Suba into Sarkars and Paraganas. However, the smallest unit of the administration was village, and that was under Panchayat. One more thing was Kotwal. Kotwal took over the place in a township place, as he took over the administration of the town and performed both civil and police duties. He grabbed the criminals and kept a record of people living in his area, and kept a particular maintain a record of it, and that he served directly to the king. His office in which the Kotwal work was known as Kotwali. Kotwali, as you have that Kotwali, the term which is still used. Kotwali is still used in India till this era. So now we have heard about the provincial administration of the how the people and how the officials administration. Now we will come on the revenue administration. Revenue, as I have said you, it is a very important thing for a kingdom to grow and to establish for a long time. So revenue of a kingdom directly comes from the land and the revenue of the trade. So land and trade were the two main sources of the revenue, and Akbar kept a strict watch on land and this trade revenue, and he made minor modifications to the revenue system that was introduced by Sher Shah. Sher Shah schedule, he also took over the revenue system, and he made Akbar that he followed the customs of Sher Shah. He made minor modifications, just minor modifications to the system introduced by the Sher Shah Suri. The Akbar's revenue minister, that was Raja Toder Mal, introduced a new system of measuring land that was known as Toder Mal Bandobast. Under this system, the land was properly measured without any think of any wrong or any differentiation in the value or the executed value of the land, and this was known as Toder Mal Bandobast. The Toder Mal Bandobast just specify and was better justify and was better than the older system of revenue or the measuring of land. Older, the thing that was used to measure the land was around a rope which shrunk after when it was dry, and stretched when it was wet, and the heads that demarcations of the land used to change, and thus the corruption took place. So the Raja Toder Mal introduced a new system. A new system was that he known as Toder Mal Bandobast. Now the land was properly measured with the help of bamboo reed. The new instrument that he introduced was bamboo rods. Bamboo rods were joined together with the iron beads to form a land or a particular type of rod that can be used to measure a particular. Now the land was properly measured without any need of corruption or anything. And after, when the land was measured, it was divided into three categories. As I said in the previous video, good, average, and bad. According to this categories, the tax on the land was fixed on these categories: good, average, and bad of the fertility. As if the fertility between the Ganga and Yamuna dove in Delhi was very nice, then the average price or the average produce was, the tax was 1/3 of the total produce. and around the in whole India, around 1/3 or 1/4 was the average income of king or the Akbar produced by the revenue of the land. So now in 1580, Akbar also introduced a new system that was known as Dehsala. Dehsala was a system that it encouraged that the number of production of a year that was produced in a particular year, and the production of money in the last 10 years were calculated, and the average was found on that. And thus, if the average decreases, then it directly sees that there is a mistake, and if the average increases, then it is a profit for the emperor or the kingdom. Now, Akbar also encouraged trade, external trade or overseas trade. India at that time traded with Europe, China, and many more Central Asian, many more countries. And the main item that was exported by the India were textile, spices, indigo, and saltpeter. Saltpeter or indigo is a very thing that I will tell you in the next video. Now we will proceed that video with the army administration. Now, till now you have heard about the administration of the provincial administration, revenue administration, and the administration of the officers. But now the most important thing for the kingdom, that is the army. Now we will know about the army administration of the Akbar, how the Akbar maintains his army administration. The Akbar at that time maintained a Mansabdari system. Mansabdari system was a system in which a particular soldier was acquired by a particular rank. Mansab, the word Mansab means rank or position. As किसी भी जो soldier था, उसी को उसके हिसाब से rank मिलती थी. Used to get the land on the basis of his warfare tactics and that all. जो Mansab, and the person who gets the rank was known as Mansabdar. And this system of Mansabdari was this system of granting this position was known as Mansabdari system. अब जो Mansab होता था, he used to get his salary in a particular Jagir. The Akbar paid his soldiers not in just cash. He also paid the soldiers in particular आजानी का particular plot of land. जितना भी kingdom का है, उसका थोड़ा part in particularly soldiers को वो दे देता था, और वही उससे जो taxes निकले थे, वही उनकी soldiers की salary के बराबर होते थे. तो वो he used to not give the money, but he used to indirectly give the land to that soldiers. This was about the army administration. After that, in army administration, he used to maintain a special group of soldiers known as Ahadis. Ahadis were very nicely trained and very powerful rulers, and were efficient fighting machine. And as efficient fighting machine was the army of Akbar, as the Akbar was a very powerful ruler, so he maintained his army in such a way that the army of Akbar can किसी भी आर्मी से अकबर की आर्मी लड़ने में केपेबल थी, किसी भी और किंगडम की आर्मी से लड़ने में केपेबल थी. ये इतना स्ट्रॉन्ग अकबर ने अपना आर्मी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन बनाया था. अब आते हैं अकबर की रिलीजियस पॉलिसी में. अकबर जैसे ही जब किंगडम करने आया, तो उनके कुछ नए इनोवेटिव आइडियाज आए. उन्होंने ये देखा कि इंडिया में बहुत मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द पीपल्स आर हिंदू, सो ही डिसाइडेड टू गेट द सपोर्ट ऑफ द हिंदू सब्जेक्ट्स. अगर मेजॉरिटी इंडिया की मेजॉरिटी में हिंदू पीपल्स हैं, देन इफ ही विल गेट द सपोर्ट ऑफ द हिंदूज, देन ऑब्वियसली ही विल एस्टैब्लिश अ ग्रेट किंगडम. सो ही थॉट ऑफ दिस थिंग एंड एस्टैब्लिश एंड ही made a co-mutual existence between Hindu and Muslim. And after that, to gain the support of the Hindus, he abolished some tax such as millennium tax in 1562 and jizya. Jizya was a tax that was long imposed, and he also abolished that tax in 1564. After that, he also stopped the forcefully converting of prisoners of the world to Islam. जो prisoners आते थे, उनको जबरदस्ती इस्लाम में कन्वर्ट करने का जो कस्टम था, वो भी अकबर ने स्टॉप कर दिया था. और अकबर हिंदुओं को टेम्पल्स बनाने की और अपने रिचुअल्स करने की काफ़ी डोनेशंस और ग्रांट कर दिया करते थे. उसके साथ ही अकबर ऑल्सो यूज्ड टू अटेंड द हिंदू festivals like Holi, Diwali, and he used to intermingle with the Indians. आफ्टर दैट अब हम लोग ने कैसे जाना कि अकबर की कौन कौन सी पॉलिसीज थी। अब हम लोग जानेंगे अकबर ही आल्सो स्टार्टेड अ रिलीजन कॉल्ड दीन-ए-इलाही। उसने एक ऐसा रिलीजन चालू कर दिया था। इट वाज नॉट हिंदू मुस्लिम, इट वाज स्टार्टेड अ रिलीजन कॉल्ड दीन-ए-इलाही। दीन-ए-इलाही वाज such a divine monotheism that it was a going to God and where the people of all the religions, all the castes are equal। एक ऐसा रिलीजन उसने बनाया जिसमें हर सब लोग इक्वल थे और उसकी कस्टम सबसे अलग थे। कस्टम ऐसे अलग थे कि इसमें जो दीन-ए-इलाही जो सपोर्ट करता था वो डायरेक्टली अकबर के अंडर में आता था दीन-ए-इलाही। और दूसरी चीज़ जो कुछ ये रिचुअल्स जो हिंदू करते थे कि दैट कटिंग ऑफ एनिमल्स एंड सैक्रिफाइसेस, उन्होंने ये भी बंद करवाया। लेकिन जो इम्पोर्टेंट फीचर था इसके आपकी इबादत खाना का, वो था कि आपका वो लोग सोर्सेस ऑफ लाइट को वर्शिप करते थे, सोर्सेस ऑफ गॉड को वर्शिप करते थे। जैसे सन को वर्शिप करते थे वो लोग दे यूज्ड टू वर्शिप वाटर, दे यूज्ड टू वर्शिप फायर। तो ये सारे फीचर्स थे इबादत खाना के। आफ्टर दैट वी कम टू सोलाकुल। सोलाकुल वाज द यूनिवर्सल पीस और द पीस विद ऑल। पीस विद ऑल मतलब कि इबादत खाना का बस एक मिशन था, सब लोग पूरे जितनी भी वर्ल्ड में है सब लोग पीस से रहे, एक साथ मिलजुल कर रहे। और जो अकबर का जो ये दीन-ए-इलाही था वाज अकॉर्डिंग टू सम हिस्टोरियंस इट इज बिलीव्ड दैट द religion introduced by the Akbar was दीन-ए-इलाही was similar to the अशोका धामा। अशोका में अगर आप लोग जाएंगे तो अशोका द ग्रेट ने भी एक धामा, अशोका धामा एक रिलीजन उन्होंने भी चालू किया था जिसमें सब लोग को बराबरी का दर्जा दिया था। उनसे ही मिलता जुलता था आपका दीन-ए-इलाही। अब आते हैं अकबर के आर्किटेक्चर में। अकबर ने अपने टाइम पर आर्किटेक्चर कम बनवाया एज कम्पेयर टू शाहजहां, लेकिन उन्होंने आगरा फोर्ट को बिल्ड करवाया। उन्होंने एक इम्प्रेसिव स्ट्रक्चर फतेहपुर सीकरी में बनवाया। उसके अंदर उन्होंने शेर चली चिश्ती का उन्होंने मार्बल का एक छोटा सा मार्बल का हाउस भी बनवाया। तो उन्होंने बहुत सारे उन्होंने अपने आगरा फोर्ट के अंदर इम्प्रेसिव जहांगीरी महल को बनाया रेड सैंडस्टोन का। अब तक जो आर्किटेक्चर होते थे वो सिर्फ रेड सैंडस्टोन से ही यूज किए जाते थे। तो अब हम लोगों ने जान लिया कि आर्किटेक्चर कैसा था, उसमें कौन सा रिलीजन चालू किया, उनका कैसी रिलीजियस पॉलिसी थी। तो अब हम जानते हैं कि उन्होंने क्या अदर एक्टिविटीज उनमें क्या क्या रोल रहते थे। पेंटिंग अकबर की जैसा हम जानते हैं अकबर यूज टू पैट्रोनाइज पेंटर्स एंड इट इज अकॉर्डिंग टू कंटेम्परेरी सोर्सेज ऑफ द अकबर, अकॉर्डिंग टू अबुल फैजल इट इज सेड दैट अकबर यूज टू मेंटेन कारखानास एंड रॉयल वर्कशॉप विद हंड्रेड्स ऑफ पेंटर्स लिव्ड एंड hundreds of painter lids and made paintings that the theme of that painting depicted about that Akbar in his court and Akbar doing hunting. That was the theme of that painting. And some of the famous paintings of that period included Jaswant and Daswant. Now we come to the end of that period. After that, in 1567, the Akbar also ordered a lavishly illustration of a Hamzanama. Hamzanama consisted of 1000 pages, all beautifully illustrated, and each consisted of a beautifully inscriptions and designs. After that, after the illustration of Hamzanama, Akbarnama, Tutinama, and Babarnama was also illustrated. Now we come to the literature of that period of Akbar. Akbar patronized the Persian literature and converted many Indian epics such as Hindu rituals epics such as Mahabharata and Ramayana into Persian. These were done by he patronized most of one of his Navratna was known as Abul Fazl. Abul Fazl also wrote the biography of Akbar, which is known as Akbarnama, and a part of it is known as An-e-Akbari. Akbar not only patronized the Persian literature, or he converted the literature of Turkish and Arab into the Persian, but he also patronized the Hindi literature such as Vallabhadar, Yeshwadas, Tulsidas, and Surdas. Our Goswami Tulsidas wrote the great epic Ramcharitmanas was also written in the period of Akbar, and Surdas wrote Sursagar in this period only, and the Prem Vatika of Rakshasan and Satsai of Bihari were the main literatures of the Hindi literature in this period. Now we come to the point of music. The last point of this Akbar society, Akbar origin is music. According to Abul Fazl's Akbarnama, it is stated that Akbar patronized around 36 musicians in his court, and out of 36, many were women. but the most famous, and we all know that person which is most famous in singing, which is Mia Tansingh. Mia Tansingh was known by every people as as it is suggested that when he sang that rags, when he composed new Deepak. Rag Deepak was suggested that when the Rag Deepak was put, all the Deepak जो दिए थे वो बुझने जलने लग जाते थे. उसके बाद राग मेघ मलावर, उन्होंने एक नया राग बनाया, राग मेघ मलावर. राग मेघ मलावर की ये क्वालिटी थी, जब वो राग मेघ मलावर गाते थे तो जो बारिश होती थी, बादल होते थे, एक साथ गरजने लग जाते थे और बारिश होने लगती थी. उसके बाद उन्होंने जो दरबार में गाते थे वो राग दरबारी भी गाते थे. उसके बाद इनकी कई सारे उस टाइम पर उन्होंने कई सारे राग बनाए और कंपोज किए. तो अगर जैसा हम लोग अगर देखें, इफ यू लुक अबाउट अकबर, ही पैटर्नाइज्ड many things, many painters, many artists such as which can include painters, which can include writers, which can include musicians, and he also patronized many people. So Akbar, from his nature we can define that Akbar was a very kind man, and he was an empire builder, a great man, and I would suggest, according to me, he was the greatest and the greatest of the Mughal dynasty, and we have ever got. So after the 50 years of the Akbar shooting in 1605, Akbar died with getting of an accidental poison. And now we come to the end of the Akbar, and Akbar was a great ruler, as he, in every field, if you see of that time, the role of Akbar is very kind, and he has supported to the growth of the Indian society. So we come to an end of this third part of the Mughal dynasty. Now we will continue in the fourth part of the Mughal dynasty about Jahangir, Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb. So if you like this video, then please do like, share, subscribe, and comment your suggestions in the comment box that you want more videos on Mughal dynasty or more videos on history, and we will look to it and make it and present it to you. And also like and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon. We will meet in the next video. तब तक के लिए bye bye.